Hello, and welcome. Welcome once again to the Secrets of the High Demand Coach podcast. And here with us today is yet another high demand coach. In fact, we have Australia's leading CEO architect in the one and only Lezly Kaye, who mentors multi-six-figure leaders looking to scale their businesses quickly without sacrificing who they are. Drawing on her experience building a $60 million empire, Lezly partners with high-achieving women to elevate their business strategies and leadership styles, guiding them through the critical growth stages with clarity and confidence. Lezly assists her clients in overcoming obstacles, tackling self-sabotage, and achieving sustainable growth while preserving their sense of fulfillment and connections. And she's here with us today. Lezly, welcome to the show. So excited to have you here. I want to
Thank you so
run
much.
I want to run a scenario by you that I think a lot of founders face.
Mhm.
They wake up to their alarm blaring in their ear Monday morning after working most of the weekend. And the last thing that they want to do is go and to work because they know they have to deal with their team. And
Mm.
while they may love their team to pieces, they also drive them crazy. And so how do you help folks? It's like you can't grow a business without a team, but you just don't like what's wrong with these people? It just feels like what you ask yourself all the time. How do you help folks to navigate that stage?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, relationships are at the core of every good CEO or every good leader.
Mm.
And generally, what is happening is the team is reflecting back uh, parts of yourself that you're not actually in deep enough relationship with. So there's a few things. Sometimes we hire a team to fix a problem that's immediate. So I see this so often. People get flustered. They're like, oh my God, I'm scaling or X, Y, and Z's not working. And I just need someone to help fix this problem right now. So they hire in a very reactive state and they hire someone that can fix the problem they have today. And they're not looking at who's going to help them grow down the line. So they
Right.
fix this problem, and in 6 months' time, that person almost becomes irrelevant because they've hired for the skill set of the immediate issue and not for the growth of the company.
Yes.
And then you have to start, not have to, but most people I see will start them treating their employees like children because they haven't actually set them up for success because they hired in a panic and then they didn't foresee what that role would grow into for that person. And they're probably either not skilled enough, they don't have, they're not set up enough. So generally, systems, processes, standard operating procedures all sound really boring and unnecessary. But when you're scaling a team, it's one of the only ways to ensure that you can set someone up for success. So
Yeah.
yeah, team leadership is a very complex thing. Actually, I've
Yeah.
managed recruitment companies for 15 years, and it's one of the things that can either set a business up for success or undo an organization, especially in that scale up stage.
Yes.
It's crucial to know when to hire, who to hire, and what they need in order to succeed in the role for the future, not for right now.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love in particular, the piece on hiring reactively, because it's true. Like we just don't have time, or at least we don't feel like we have the time to do it. And then it adds up, and it's so interesting how much we externalize it, right? It's problems with then when really it's things that we've set into motion, both long ago and in the current moment. So I call this the trap of being a reluctant manager, right? Because there's not, you know, this, like being a founder, coaching with founders. I'm yet to meet a founder in all the hundreds and thousands that I've talked to that say the reason, Scott, I started this business was to manage people, right? Like, and so I found that for men and women, they're equally likely to fall into this trap, but it seems like it happens for slightly different reasons and may be harder to kind of wrap their mind around. So, with women, what are some of the reasons why your female clients or women founders tend to hit this that's different from maybe other founders?
Yeah. Hmm. I deal mostly with women, so I have a larger chunk of that demographic to be able to talk to. Honestly, I think women are more inclined to people please,
Mm.
and more inclined to not have boundaries.
Yes.
Um, you're leading a team. It's not, and it shouldn't be your best friend's have a good relationship with the people you work with, yes, but there's a fine line between having a good relationship and a familiar relationship, and actually having boundaries when it comes to business, expectations when it comes to business. I find there can be a lot of entitlement um, from employees. And so women will often let people get away with entitlement more so than men. It's like mum and dad in the subconscious parenting roles. So yeah, I think for me, yeah, women just want to have friends basically. I want a whole bunch of friends that I can sit around with and build a business with.
Yeah.
And that can, yeah, lead to trouble, especially if you're not, you can lead with kindness, and that's what I encourage. And you can lead with boundaries and firmness, but you have to be able to say no to people, and you have to be able to hold people accountable for the things they're not doing. And
Yeah.
generally, I find that women are just grateful for what is getting done
Yeah.
versus actually looking at what they're hiring the person for. So you've hired someone to do 10 things and they're doing six, and they're like, wow, I'm so grateful they did the six things. Versus, hey, I love that you're doing those six things, but really the role requires you to do 10. So how can I support you to improve your skills, your capacity, your understanding of the organization in order to get to those 10 things that I
Yeah.
need you to do?
Yeah. One of the things that I've found is challenging, particularly in new business, is like, how do you know it's 10 things, right? Maybe it is 6 things, or maybe it's 16 things. And one of the one of the things I've found in the again, this is generalities, but a lot of the female clients, the voice of imposter syndrome seems to be louder in those moments, right? There's a sense of like, well, how do you know that they're supposed to do 10? And it undermines what are very good instincts, right? Their instincts are right. It should be 10. And you can get someone from the outside to objectively say that, or you can trust your own instincts. Why is it so hard to trust those instincts, and why is that voice of the imposter so loud?
Oh, yes, I love this. So I sit in the intersection of strategy and psychology. So I'm actually more looking at the relationship that you have with yourself and the reason why this imposter syndrome is running your business. And I talk about the little girl versus the woman. So imposter syndrome actually comes from a younger version of you that was told they weren't good enough, or mummy didn't love them, or daddy didn't love them. Most entrepreneurs and most high achievers actually come from some form of childhood trauma. It can be big T or little t. Could be they were neglected. It could be that they never got daddy's love or attention. It could be that mummy was never there, or, mummy only praised them when they were achieving. And so imposter syndrome actually comes from that version of you. It's the version of you that is seeking love and validation or the achievement in their business. So this lack of self-trust is actually showing up in more places than your business. Your business is actually the biggest reflection of who you are and how you lead yourself. And in one of the pillars that I cover in supporting entrepreneurs, performance is actually a whole pillar of the three that I go through: people,
Mhm.
profit, performance, because most of your issues actually stem from the imposter syndrome. Most of
Oh,
your issues actually stem from yeah, I can't lead, I'm not good enough.
yeah.
Most entrepreneurs, and I've done this 4 times, are just fluking it until cash flow actually kicks in to sustain your business. And if you don't have the right mindset and the right systems and the right understanding of business at those stages, that imposter syndrome cranks. And I would say to those listening that if this is you and you're sitting there and there's this voice inside of your head, hopefully it's only a whisper and it's not shouting at you. Mine for a very long time shouted. Um, then you actually need to ask yourself, why don't I trust myself?
Mm,
And look at all the ways you're breaking trust. And
yeah.
this might seem so silly, but it could be as simple as, well, today I decided I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do more exercise. So I'm not really a morning person. So I might say I'm going to get up tomorrow at 6 a.m. But 6 a.m. rolls around and I snooze my alarm. It's those micro moments when you're breaking trust, because you just broke trust with yourself. You just broke your own word. So it's those micro moments when you're breaking trust with yourself that compound over time that actually uh, imprint this lack of self belief. And you've got to start with micro moments. So it could be, I'm going to not eat lunch at my desk all week, or I'm going to take 15 minutes a day to walk around the block. And it seems separate. It seems like trust in business and trust in self are different, but it's not. Your business is a reflection of how you internally feel. and we are governed by our subconscious mind 90% of the time.
Mm.
So you might think I'm a high achieving, none of this is relevant to me, but I promise you, 90% of your thoughts, actions, belief are coming from things that happened to you as a child. And the fastest way to actually look at those is to get in a conscious relationship or build a business.
Well,
Most people want to do both. So, if you can allow your business to be the reflection of your internal world, you can start to ask yourself, well, I know it's 10. Why am I not trusting that? And why am I not following through on that belief? And just start to get
yes.
really curious. I say to people, we don't find these parts and hate them. It's not like we're like, wow, layering on the imposter syndrome and the self doubt. For me, it's just getting really curious with why there's a lack of belief in it's generally worthiness or deservedness.
Mm.
Start to ask yourself, do I feel worthy of this? Do I feel like I deserve this? And get really curious.
Wow. So I love that you bridge that because again, and I say this all the time on the show. Folks are probably sick of hearing it because they all agree with me. But one of the things that just about everybody underestimates when they're getting into the game of being an entrepreneur is how personal the journey is, right? And I think you could say that for any great and meaningful pursuit, right? So I don't know that it's entirely unique in that, but it's unavoidable, right? If you don't deal with your stuff, it's just so hard to hide it. And if we're not careful, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, we can kind of externalize it. So I love that you went there. I want to kind of shift gears just slightly and get into to some practical kind of outflow of that. So we've got the same person. They've started the journey of working on themselves. They're working through that. But they realize at this stage in their business they can't do it all anymore, and they've got to get stuff off of their plate. But it feels like I can't for all the reasons that you mentioned earlier, or I don't want to overwhelm people. There's just 1,000 reasons why we don't delegate. How do you help your clients figure out what they should be handing off first, and how to do it?
Yeah, I love this. People actually make it seem harder than it is. Write a list. What do you love? What do you hate? Because if, as well, subconsciously, if you're scaling a business and it's going to mean you have to do more of what you hate, subconsciously, you'll block your business from growing.
Yes.
So the first step is to write column A, column B. This is everything I do in a week. This is everything I love. And this is everything I don't really love or enjoy. And your first point of call is finding someone that can take everything you don't love or enjoy. The second step is to look at this list and ask yourself, if I got 100 clients tomorrow, what would break in this list? And that's how you hire the second person. People overcomplicate and then also undercomplicate, and I'll touch on that in a second, but they overcomplicate hiring because they want it to be harder than it is. And there's probably a belief that only they can, be the hero in their client's journey. I see this one so often. Like they want to be the one to save the day. They want to be the one to fix all the problems. And this was me. So this is why I know it. So you'll hire people that probably aren't as good as you or aren't as skilled as you because there's a part of you that needs the validation from your clients being like, oh my God, thank you so much. You saved the day. That was me. And this is the big trap I see entrepreneurs fall into. The second thing is maybe writing it down will make them feel like an imposter because maybe there's things they know they should be doing that they're not. And so writing it down, actually looking at their business ecosystem and going, well, this is everything I do, but holy shit, there's 10 things I should be doing that I'm not,
Yeah.
actually highlights their belief that they're a failure.
Mm.
So first thing is to actually write down everything you do in a day, everything you do in a week, even if it seems dumb. Like entrepreneurs say to me, oh, I don't need to hand off this email response because I only do it once a week. Okay, that's 10 minutes over 52 weeks. We need to take back that time because even if that was just 10 minutes you got out from your desk and you went for a walk, that's going to serve you better than sending that email that can be delegated.
Yeah.
People also assume, and a lot of it is they're fearful. Like if I teach someone else this, maybe they'll just steal my business because I don't believe I should be in business in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, stop overcomplicating it. And if you're sitting there thinking, I can't trust, I'm not going to find anyone, only I can do this, that's a lie you're telling yourself to make
Yeah.
you feel important.
Yeah.
I love this part of you and it's time to let it go. And then secondly, this part I touched on that people, it's easy and it's complicated. What people don't really realize when they're hiring that person to take off the list is the reason that most business relationships fail is because we're treating them like business transactions. So when I'm supporting entrepreneurs to hire, I actually get them to ask about the person's values. So when you understand what motivates someone, money will only motivate someone so much. But if you understand their values, you can curate a job that serves them. Now, the simple way to explain this is if someone values family highly, you could pay them all the money in the world, but if you ask them to miss their kid's recital or don't take 4 weeks of holidays a year, you're never going to keep them long term. So if you start to ask your new hires what they value, you can start to shape their position and your company values around the types of people you want. And that way, as well, in a competitive market, someone down the road might pay 10K, but they ask them to miss their kids' school rehearsals. You pay them less, but your culture is actually aligned to who you are. So don't change your culture to hire someone, firstly. And you're getting on more people that are bought into the bigger vision and the bigger mission and values for the organization. And it becomes less about values and mission written on the wall and more about the intrinsic relationships that you're building with your team as you grow.
It's so good. That's so good. There's so much in there to unpack. I'd say this every once in a while, but there's some episodes you just have to go back and listen to again because there's a lot of gold in there. Um, and again, just goes back to this idea of it's such a personal journey. It's such a personal walk. And the cool thing about that is when you take agency of it, when you take ownership of that, it unlocks so much growth so quickly. So yeah, there's so much in that. Uh, Again, I want to shift gears a little bit here for a question that I ask all my guests, and I'm very interested to see, Leslie, what you have to say. What would you say is the biggest secret that you wish wasn't a secret at all? What's that one thing you wish everybody watching or listening today knew?
Mm. Scaling business isn't hard. Having a relationship with yourself is.
Wow.
So most people assume that they're separate and most people are avoiding themselves by being in business. And as you just mentioned, the fastest way to actually build a business is to build a relationship with yourself. And most people are using business to avoid themselves. It's a very generalization, but most entrepreneurs are like, let's stay busy so I don't have to deal with the trauma that happened to me when I was 7. If you actually merge those worlds, if you actually start to use your business as a mirror into all the ways in which you do self-abandon, self-sabotage, maybe you're not the nicest person. Maybe you're a dictator. Maybe you are unfair at work, but it's born from the thoughts, patterns, behaviors, and habits of the version of you that wasn't seen, heard, understood, or loved. And so there's this misconception that you can be a tyrant or you can be closed and cold and build businesses because that's sort of, I want to say, how traditional business was built. The world and entrepreneurship is calling for more entrepreneurs that actually are connected to themselves. And sustainable businesses are led by entrepreneurs that are connected to themselves, especially when markets, as in employee markets, get tighter and tighter and tighter. It'll be less about how much you pay them and more about how you treat them. And that type of treatment, you cannot just bang a HR person in and be like, fix my culture. Everything rots from the head. And so if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, then your business isn't going to have a good relationship internally.
Yeah, so true. Leslie, there's folks listening to this and they want to know where they can get more. They want to know more about the work that you do and how you might be able to help them in their personal journey. Where can they find more out about you and the work that you do?
Instagram is the best way to get me. It's me on there, so you're not going to get palmed off to one of my team. So it's at Lezly Kaye, but LezlyKaye. Check the show notes. I like to be different and I spell my name very differently.
Awesome. Leslie, thank you so much for being on the show. Just a privilege and honor having you here today with us. And for those of you watching and listening, you know your time and attention mean the world to us. I hope you got as much out of this conversation as I know I did, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Take care.